What's happening, everybody? Welcome into the Wilbur and Gold Show, episode 30 on a Friday, September 3rd. Fall is in the air. I don't know where you live, but I know in the Carolinas, North Carolina, High Point, North Carolina, to be specific, where I live, fall has been in the air the last 2 days. Yesterday was a cool day. And then this morning, I got up super early this morning, because that's actually something I'm trying to get more in the habit of doing. Let me start with this, actually. You guys know me. I'm very improv. I'll be going down one street, then I'll turn on a side street, and then eventually we'll come back to the main street. Then there's another side street over here, and then, whatever. But that's good in radio because you got a lot to talk about. So this morning, got up super early. That's something that I do sporadically. It's not something regular. I would like to get it regular, where I'm getting up around 4 to 5 o'clock-ish, or 5 something or something like that, but preferably 4 to 5 o'clock if I could choose. Just because I like to, I'm of the mindset that it's more about what you do while you're awake than what time you get up and go to bed. If somebody, let's say, is up for 18 hours, but they don't get up till noon, and then they go to bed at like 3 a.m. I don't know if that's 18 hours, but just work with me here. But they're more productive than somebody that gets up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and that goes to bed at 9 p.m. Like, what does it actually matter as long as you're being productive while you're awake? Because let me tell you, sleep is that jam. There's going to be times in your life when you have to get less sleep because something big is coming up, or you got to get extra hours in on something that you just have to do. But for the most part, you need to be getting 6 to 8 hours. It's just that, sleep is that jam. So I'll just say that, but I think it's more important what you're doing while you're awake. However, I'm the type of person where I like to try and get a lot of little things done early before I kind of start the day's stuff around 8 or 9 o'clock. Which includes meditating, planning out the day, maybe getting certain things ready for the day, working out, maybe playing some tennis, maybe even playing some disc golf, some of that stuff grouped in there. So I like to try and get an early start. That way I get all that stuff done, and then we're started at around 8 to 9 o'clock. So I don't know why I told you that, but that's something I'm trying to start. But I got up early, so it's very sporadic for me right now. I'm trying to get more into the habit of it. Just because that's just how I prefer to do it. I think it's more important what you're doing while you're awake than what time you get up. But for me personally, especially somebody in broadcasting and radio and that type of field, I like to try and get an early start if I can. So now, if I'm not getting a workout in or all that other stuff, I just say screw it, get up at 8, 9 o'clock. But anyway, I'll be honest with you. I got up this morning around 5 o'clock, and I had to go outside in my car to get something, and it was like chilly outside. And I'm like, oh yeah. Because I was explaining to my buddy, actually on the phone, I played some tennis this morning, and I was explaining to my buddy over the phone when I was on the way in the car. I used to, so I'm a former baseball player, played all the way through college, played the Division III level at a college called William Peace University in Raleigh. Played 2 years of JUCO ball. Started playing baseball when I was 5 years old. Baseball is all I've known up until 23 years old. I'm 25 now, and I've gotten a couple years, as a career guy now, a professional guy now in broadcasting and that type of deal, and many other things that we'll get into at a later time. But no, I was telling my buddy, again, I live in North Carolina, and so, it gets cold here during the fall and winter time. It's not like Florida where it's warm year round, which is great for baseball players, football players, outdoor sports, because you can play year round, so you have an advantage. Up until 2 years ago when I finished up my baseball career, I like it when it's kind of chilly around the holidays, because it's kind of gets you in the spirit. But once the holidays are done, I'm out. I need it to be warm again now. Like, I want it to be warm all the time. So, again, so I can go outside and have the advantage of the weather. It's comfortable, and I'm not out there trying to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball with a wooden bat in the freezing cold. I mean, because if you've tried to do that, unless you just barrel it up perfectly, it ain't comfortable. Let's just say that. But now that I'm not a baseball player anymore, over the last 2 years, and I'm more of a kind of enjoy the seasons, all the different seasons type of guy, I don't mind the colder weather to a point. Now, once we hit the beginning of February, the holidays are over, the new beginning of the new year, the first month, January's over. Once we get into that first week or so of February, I'm over it. I'm like, all right, bring on the warm weather. Let's go. Because, to me, the cold weather and the holidays kind of go hand in hand, and so I really enjoy that. But once that's done, I need warm weather, and I need it now. But I was telling my buddy, ever since I got done playing baseball, where I preferred warm weather year-round, outside of, holidays. But even then, like, around Christmas time is when I want it to be cold. Like, if I could have had it warm year-round, and then, like, the week of Christmas it was cold, then boom, right back to warm weather, I would prefer that. Because, I don't really play that much baseball in the week of Christmas anyway, because, you're celebrating. It's kind of your off period. But, yeah, I really savor the different, I was about to say holidays. I always savor the holidays. Do not get that misunderstood. And you'll be seeing more of that here in the coming months as we get closer and closer to the holidays, as we are in the beginning of September. But I was telling my buddy, like, I really savor the seasons more so now, that I'm not an athlete outdoors, kind of trying to perform in the weather. I really savor all the different seasons now more so than I used to. So, like, I say all that to say it's been cooler the last couple days. I've been slowly kind of getting into I'm always in the holiday spirit. So I'm not going to say I'm getting into the holiday spirit, because we still got a little bit of ways to go. But I've always been of the mindset that once, is that a word? Once August hits, that's kind of when I start realizing, all right, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to football, the holidays, all that. And then now, the first couple days of September, when that hits, that's when it really starts to kind of hit, like, okay, we're getting now the countdown is on, because it's, again, it's been cooler the last couple of days. Now, whether that's going to stick around consistently just yet has yet to be seen. But, it's going to start to get cooler as we work through this month, and then, October hits, the month of Halloween at the end, at the end of the month, Thanksgiving. And it's just once August kind of sparks it to where it's like, okay, we're officially, like, in smelling. I can smell it. Like, we're officially in. I can see it on the horizon. We're not quite there yet, but it's over there. We're getting there. September hits. It's like, now I can really kind of start to smell it, and I start to feel it, and then once September hits, as you go through, the countdown is on, and then you add another little thing in the mix for me personally this year. I'm going to be moving in a month to my first apartment on my own. I'm excited as shit about that, so that's going to be a whole thing, because I'm a big interior decorating guy, home decor. You can ask anybody that's lived with me over my college years, or anybody that knows me closely. I'm very organized. I'm into the whole knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. I like my collectibles. I like flashy things. I like certain ambiance in the house, if you will, and that's always kind of been a little gift of mine, to be able to do that pretty well, to have that knack for the knickknacks, So yeah, I'm very excited to finally have my own apartment to decorate, because up until this point, I've only had a room to work with. Like, even when I went to college, like, I still got roommates, and it was really just my room that I got to stay in. Everything else was kind of whatever because it was college living and whatever. You guys know what that's all about. Never was quite my cup of tea, but this was coffee. Oh yeah. By the way, got my first, and again, going back, we're going to talk a little sports here in a little bit over the course of the hour, but getting back into the whole September, fall, the countdown for the holidays is on. Football starts next week. My fantasy draft is on Sunday in a couple of days, so I'm excited about that. Oh, by the way, my name is Will Dalton, a.k.a. Wilbur and Gold. That's the handle down here. I don't know if I said that to start out the show, but that's me. I'm like, my mind's like racing right now. So going along with the whole September countdown, holidays, blah, 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 cooler weather, the pumpkin stuff. Got my first thing of pumpkin creamer yesterday over at Sam's Club. I went to Sam's Club, by the way. Let me just bring this up. So I got me a big thing of pumpkin pie creamer yesterday at Sam's Club, and that was actually the first time I've ever been to Sam's Club. Never been to Costco a couple of times with my buddy back in the day because his mom had a membership, and they used to always keep their kitchen so stocked up, and that's how I want my house to be, is just stocked up, ready to go. But me and my buddy were talking about it yesterday, and he brought up a good point because, again, I'm moving in a month, going to have, my expenses and things for the first time ever. It's, it's all my stuff. So taking that into consideration and, obviously and the whole point of the Costco, the Sam's Club bulk buying thing is you're buying bigger lots and bigger things, but you're saving money in the long run. Like, I was just blown away yesterday. Like, this is like the definition of you need to get out more, but it's like true. Like we don't have Sam's Club or Costco. My buddy had Costco bags. I mean, I know what it's all about, but I'd never been to Sam's Club before. But I was blown away. The big bag, like I saw 100 count, several 100 count K-Cup boxes for like $25. Meanwhile, you get like 12. Or I'm trying to think. You can get like a 12 to 15 count at Harris Teeter for like $15. Meanwhile, you spend just $10 more, you get 100 of them motherfuckers. 100. Like, and just I'm a big coffee guy, and just the big bags of Starbucks coffee that I saw yesterday for like $25. Meanwhile, I've been spending like $10, $11, $12 on like the, now I was just blown away. I cannot wait to start shopping there. Got my first victim with my first pumpkin creamer of the year, first pumpkin coffee product of the year. But yeah, so I've been getting my first pumpkin coffee this week. First one came from Starbucks, got the nitro cold brew pumpkin. And then I got one. There's a place, I don't know. I know here in North Carolina we have it. It's called Clutch Coffee. It is so fucking good. Got their pumpkin coffee. So we went to the Clutch Coffee. I've never been to this one before. This one was in Winston. This is if you know the area that I live in. So the one we went to the other day was in Winston-Salem. I'd never been to that one before. Usually we go to the one in Greensboro, where I'm going to be moving to. And the one in Greensboro is way better. So it was a little anticlimactic because I'm like, oh, finally get some pumpkin coffee from Clutch. Hadn't done that yet because they're still relatively new. They weren't around for the holidays last year. I think they opened up in the spring. And it was a little anticlimactic, but whatever. So pumpkin coffee is back in the system. It's finally getting cooler. I've spent the first 15 minutes of the show basically going on and on and on and on about the holidays and fall and the countdown's on for the holidays, and I love it, man. Like, this is just a glimpse and what you're going to see moving forward for me. The holidays are going to be fun. The holidays are going to be real fun. I'm, hoping there's going to be a lot of different content coming out here on the channel, on my Facebook, on Twitch. I've actually been a lot more active on Twitch. mostly Star Wars Battlefront over there right now. But we had, for the first time, so me and my buddy that I was on the phone with talking about the holiday thing with earlier today that I got into. So we usually stream together when I stream. Now I'm going to start streaming some by myself too, because I would like to start playing different games. So me and my buddy, Patrick is his name. You're going to meet him at some point if you haven't already. So we usually play Star Wars Battlefront because I'm a massive Star Wars guy. By the way, take a look at this. One of the side streets again. So one of our things we do is we do a lot of goodwilling, thrifting, flipping. One of my means of income, and I'd like to start a show about it where we actually take you guys out with us and kind of go into the whole process of flipping and looking for things to flip. So that's one of my means of income is I sell things on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. I'd like to get into Amazon, but I haven't dabbled in that yet. Here this week, I've been selling a lot of FX lightsabers. So I've actually got one left. Count Dooku. I just sold this one, Asajj Ventress. The batteries aren't great in it, so you can't really see the light, plus the window's open. But, yeah, so Asajj Ventress, I had a couple of Kit Fistos that I sold. So that's a big one. I've been getting big into game consoles. There's a Wii over there. There's 2 PS3s over there. There's another Wii in the closet over there. Usually get those from the pawn shop. They give us always a good deal. They know us very well because we give them a lot of business, and we've had a lot of success out of there. So, yes. So while on occasion when we're Goodwilling, I'll find something. Oh, tennis rackets is another one that we find at Goodwill's all the time. So actually the racket that I use, again, I'm an avid tennis player. The racket that I use primarily, I got 2 of them that I use. It's a Wilson Pro Staff. And if you know anything about tennis equipment, that's at the minimum. Store-bought, I don't know specifically, but store-bought, that's every bit of a $100 racket. Well, I got it at Goodwill for $2. Patrick found it, but I bought it for $2 at Goodwill. So every now and again, I'll find something that I keep, not flipping and selling. So here lately, the other week, I found this little baby here. And if you don't know what this is, let me get that banner out of the way here. I had another one, the Wilbur and Gold Show, episode 30. So this is a Star Wars VHS collection. It's one of the originals. So as I've, again, collected, and eventually I'd like to go through and maybe like show you piece by piece all the different things I've got over there. Sports collectibles are big, but I want to start adding Game of Thrones and Spider-Man and Iron Man because those are my 2 superheroes I like. But Star Wars is my shit. Star Wars is my shit. So as I've continued to collect things, like I've started to add like new things to the collection. For example, like I never really thought about this until before, but it's like, how cool is that? Like I have like one of the original VHS collector boxes here. So this actually came from 1995. So that's 4 years before the prequels started coming out. Episode 1, Phantom Menace, 1999. Again, my brain is a Star Wars Google supercomputer, so just ask it. I'll spit it out. Boom. So yeah, I found this at Goodwill. Got it for 50 fucking cents. And you got New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and then of course, Return of the Jedi. So that was cool to me. Like, I'm not buying these. Like, I've seen these before. Now, granted, this one's in the best condition. I mean, you can see it really doesn't have much of a marker. I mean, it's got a few little creases in the box. But for the most part, this is in great condition. Like, I've seen some before not in as good a condition. And I'm like, well, I don't use VHS. Really don't even watch DVDs anymore because of streaming. So I was like, what the fuck's the point? But I got to thinking, I'm like, I would love to display this. So yeah, then the other day at Goodwill, found this. So this is the DVD trilogy collection from back when Revenge of the Sith was about to come out. This is from 2004. And this specific set of the trilogy, now, this specific set of the trilogy and the prequels, I don't have the prequel DVDs. I had episode 3, sold it, because I was like, well, one, I want the Blu-ray, which I have down there. And then now it's just like everything's on streaming. And again, this isn't to watch. This is just because this is very nostalgic for me because, and I'll show you, the DVDs that look like that, I say OG because, these are back from 2004 when the prequels were coming out. And then, again, the episode 1, 2, and 3 ones that look just like that and the format of the number and everything over here and all the characters and everything. Then, they've got the Roman numerals there like that. That was always my favorite set of DVDs just because it was the ones I watched as a kid. It's the ones I grew up on. So very nostalgic for me. I would like to find the prequels, which I'm sure is out there somewhere. But, I got this, because, again, not to watch, but to display. Because it's like, one, it's kind of fucking cool, I think. And, again, it's nostalgic and just, it's the ones I grew up watching on DVD. And plus, just the box. I always thought the box looked pretty cool there. Obviously, I display on the Darth Vader side because he's the GOAT. He is my favorite. And since we're on the subject, I'm actually going to show you a couple of other things I got within reach here that I found over the last little while. So this was a comic that I actually bought a couple days ago from a little comic book store called Sailfish Comics. Trying to put it where the light hits it, right? It's a shop called Sailfish Comics over in Winston-Salem. Got it the same day I got my slightly watered down pumpkin coffee, iced coffee from the not best Clutch Coffee. The better one's in Greensboro, but I digress. So I've never really been a big comic guy, even with the Star Wars comics when they started coming out. And I don't remember when they first started coming out. We went in there. We like to go in there and look at a lot of collectibles and things in there. And I was about ready to go and leave because I didn't see anything I wanted. And my buddy was flipping through the Star Wars comics, and I was like, whatever. I've seen them before, skimmed through, didn't really pay much attention. However, I would like to start reading the Darth Vader series because, I've heard really good things about it. This isn't a Darth Vader comic. This is actually just, I don't know, Star Wars Greatest Moments variant, Death and Birth, 7 of 36. So I did a little browsing just because let me look through, see what's in there. Because I was actually looking for the Darth Vader one specifically. And then I came across this one. So obviously you can see Padme there. This is obviously, if you recall from episode 3, when she is in her casket being led through in her funeral procession. And then obviously Darth Vader down there, probably thinking about her. That's the whole point of this. And just anytime I see something that has Vader with Padme in it, as a ghost or in her corpse or her tombstone, and Vader's just kind of contemplating or thinking about it, or there's that one pretty popular painting where it's Darth Vader actually looming over and just looking at Padme's tombstone. That is always such it's just such a beautiful piece of art for me. Obviously because Darth Vader Anakin is my favorite. I know a lot of people are a little bit controversial about that. People that are like, God, I love Anakin, I love Vader, I love this, because he is kind of fucked up. His whole story. He kills younglings and helps kill all the Jedi. Obviously. So it's kind of but it's his story is so complex, and it's just such a complex character. And so people that take this way too seriously, it's oh, but he killed relax. It's a story. And 2, you got to peel back the onion a little bit and look at the different aspects of Anakin. And just, he was always my favorite growing up. His Anakin / Vader character, and he's going to be my favorite, period. So anyway, got this, and again, I haven't even opened it yet. Still in the plastic. I probably will read it just because I've actually seen little snippets from this comic and was one of the stories that I wanted to take a look at. But I mainly got it just because I love that picture, that painting there, and I was going to display it. And again, I'm moving in a month, so a lot of these, I'm kind of running out of space in my room here. And it's kind of crammed. I've got things over here on top of my printer on my desk and things back here. I'm pretty much out of space for the most part. But when I do move into my apartment, since it's just me, it's a one bedroom, one thing that I've always fantasized about is building this incredible man cave. Now, obviously, Star Wars is going to take up a majority of it, but it's going to be sports and Game of Thrones and other cool things, arcade, Now, obviously, I don't have room for all that, like a pool table and all that shit in my apartment. But I saw this as a way to kind of get the ball rolling on build. I guess I kind of already got the ball rolling because my bedroom has always kind of served as my man cave up to this point over the last, I guess I really started building up my collection as a kid without realizing I was doing, because as a kid, that to me they were just toys that I played with or didn't play with. But obviously, as I got older, late high school and early college, 25 now. So, I would say around high school, it's hard to know when I really started to look at these things as like collectibles and display items and, things like that I could kind of display. It's kind of hard to know when that really started to click for me, but probably high school years, maybe even a little bit late middle school, maybe. I'm just trying to remember, as my room is taking on so many different formations of where stuff was. But I've probably been displaying my little Star Wars and, sports things, probably going all the way back to, middle school. I'd probably say middle school. And I remember even, I used to do it some. Actually, you know what? I'm completely bullshitting you. I've been displaying these things since I was a kid. Now that I really go back and look. So, I remember I had Justice League figures, more so than Star Wars figures at one point when I was, little. And even then, I would just stand them up on my dresser. So, this is going way back for me. And so the fact that I've kind of, gotten a little bit of a taste of kind of getting a little man cave or something going. And now, I'm really going to have, my own space to really, start building, a legit man cave that isn't my bedroom. Because I kind of want my bedroom to just be a bedroom for a change. And not, an office / man cave / lounge room. Just, so that would be kind of cool finally after all these years to be able to do that. So once I've got this, so again, living room is going to be one big man cave. So I'm excited to really start getting that going. And, I think I'm going to bring you along for that and kind of show you that process and kind of show you some more of this stuff. So, let's actually move on as we're about halfway through the show. And actually, I'm going to go grab a coaster for a second. And actually, while we're on the subject of collectibles, how you like my coaster? So one of my buddies' dad, who lives in Puerto Rico, he has, hang on a second. Oh, yeah. So my buddy's dad, who lives in Puerto Rico, his fiance's brother makes stuff like this. Makes coasters, and he's a big Star Wars guy, so he makes coasters, and I'll actually show you. He makes thermal cups. So he made me these coasters, a 4-set. It's obviously got Darth Vader's head on it, helmet, whatever, and engraved on all of them. Battle Group Commander, William Dalton, because that's my full name. William Dean Dalton, if you were curious. And then he also made me this thermal cup. It's got, and it's not really focusing well. It's got, let's see, actually, it's the luxury of doing this on my good camera now. I can focus in on this. So it's got Darth Vader. I believe they're on Hoth. Actually, they are, because you can see the snow troopers. And they're kind of charging in. You got the Royal Guards, the AT-ATs, TIE fighters. It's just such a cool cup. Especially the fact that it's homemade. He made that for me and shipped it up, which I'm very appreciative of, because I love, obviously everybody loves these type of cups these days. I love how this show is turned into one giant ass show and tell, which I have zero problem with, by the way, because you're going to see that kind of, again, that interior decor, collectible knickknack side of me that I've got. So I'll enjoy sharing that with you guys. So let's move on to some of the things I actually want to get into. I'm going to try and make most of these shows, because this is going to be my main show. It's my podcast, the Wilbur and Gold Show. It's taken on many shapes and forms. This is episode 30. The show started. I started the show in 2019 when I was really starting to kind of get into, kind of going back to when I was telling you guys about how I played baseball through 23. It's all I ever knew. But I've always had this creative side, this communication side to me. And I really started to unleash it and unveil it. Because, it was one of those things that I've always had it. But unless you were like my parents, and maybe a couple people like my cousin and my uncle that kind of saw me, do little creative things like for the family, like during the holidays. Like none of my friends knew about this side of me up until a couple of years ago. My senior year of college is when I started to kind of unveil this creative and communicative side to me. Up until then, wouldn't you believe it, I was actually the quiet kid. I have a good mix of introvert and extrovert, but up until that point, I'd really only shown to the public my introverted side for the most part. So that's kind of when all this stuff kind of started. So that was when I started my podcast and started putting out more, videos and content on Instagram, or stories of me actually like talking to the camera, or like giving sports takes, or just whatever, like have a great day type of stuff. Just trying to, some positive energy, put it out there. So started the show in about June, I believe, of 2019, because that was right after I just finished my senior year of college. Didn't graduate, but that was it. So we'll get into some more about my education background at a later time, but did not graduate. Went right into an internship in sports radio. Realized that what I was doing in my internship was actually real life stuff and things that I was actually going to be doing with my life, and the things I was doing in my bullshit classes was not. I'll leave it at that. And so that was that. And again, we'll kind of get into things like that at a later time. But yeah, so this is episode 30, and at the beginning, I kind of just at the beginning, I wasn't sure what I really wanted this show to be about, and then it kind of went into, well, let's make it a sports show, because that's kind of one of my main things outside of Star Wars, like career and professionally wise. I want to be a sportscaster, am a sportscaster, sports play-by-play broadcaster, PA announcer. You wouldn't know that if you only saw me on here or TikTok, because I'm so Star Wars oriented. You would be like, wait, you're a sports guy? So yeah, this was then going to become a sports show, and then it was like I didn't really know, and then it occurred to me like, this is your main show, all the different content you're going to be doing, the Wilbur and Gold Show. It's like your main thing. It's your podcast. Make it about whatever the fuck you want it to be about, and what you guys want it to be about, and basically anything I'm interested or involved in, that's what's going to be on the show, or anything you guys, get in here and would like to see, that's what's going to be on the show. So you're going to see Star Wars, sports, just random ass shit like the holidays and knickknacks, home decor. Because again, that's a side to me that's kind of on the back burner, but it is there. You're going to see that more moving forward. The creative side, the content creation side, just life stuff, whatever you're dealing with, whatever I'm dealing with. Like, did I mention Star Wars, like video game, like just whatever it is, like you might see anything on this fucking show. Whatever's going on with me, whatever's going on with you, it's going to be on this show. So I'm excited about that. But again, that's how we got to where we are at episode 30. I'm still working to try and get these shows more out frequently. I would like to be doing it ideally like an actual like show that runs Monday through Friday, along with other content around it, throughout the day. But I would like to be doing this, once a day, Monday through Friday, weekdays, like a regular show that you would see on TV or any other show like that. So, let's see here. Got like a lot of different things in my notes here that I potentially wanted to go for. And a lot of these notes are about a week or two old because, again, like I just jot things down. And they're gonna, and again, the whole reason why I got into that, I would like to make the show about an hour every day. That's what I would like to do because there's just so many things I want to get to that you need about an hour to do it all. And eventually, I'm not hoping, eventually, because this is a live format. And that's another thing you might not know. You probably don't because we haven't had a ton of viewers and they got 17 subscribers. So I'm very new, basically just starting out. I started out recording this show with a camera and then, I would post edit it and then post it. I have since stopped doing that since probably around episode 20. So the last 10 episodes have been live. And that's mainly because this is I want it to be a live format, almost like a live podcast or radio format or telecast show like The Herd or something like that. One, because it hones my skills doing live content. Two, I just want, if it's going to be like a live show podcast, I wanted it to be live. I wanted to have that format of show. And plus, third, I wanted you guys to be able to come in live and get in the comments. I want to interact with your comments live on air because I know that brings you value, gets me acquainted with you, gets us a little relationship going between us, and it gets me, it starts to build the community. So that's kind of why I switched to the live format, and I'm glad I did that. So yeah, as we get people in here, we've got a big fat goose egg on the board right now. So anybody that watches this most likely is going to be watching after the fact when it's already posted over the Wilbur and Gold Show playlist, or that just pops up in their feed, or they saw it on my channel as the latest video. I would like to have people coming in live, commenting, getting in engagements, getting in conversations live on air. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I know that would bring you guys a lot of value, and so that's the big reason I want to do it, because at the end of the day, I want to bring as much values to you as humanly possible, because I know that's always refreshing when you see that, because not everybody on YouTube and social is going that way. A lot of it is just a PR for themselves as opposed to trying to bring you value, or they'll give you a little snippet and then try and send you over to their page to get some type of transaction out of you, and that's just not what I'm about. That's not how we're going to do it here. So kind of sticking with the theme of the day that, the holidays are officially on the clock, and fall is finally, at least where I live again, in the air. On that same token, something that goes right along in with that is football, college and NFL. Which that's a big part of it for me. Obviously the watching football with friends and whatnot, the food, chili, buffalo dip, beer, wings, pizza. Don't even get me started. And then fantasy football. That's big for me. So yeah. the first big college football game of the year last night, Ohio State beating Minnesota. I'm pretty sure. Holy shit, look at that look. That is the weirdest face I've ever made. I think my battery might have died. Let me check here. I'm dead serious. I think my battery died. Yeah, we're gonna have to switch cameras. That is the weirdest face I've ever fucking made. All right, give me just 1 second. We'll keep it trucking. I might have to shut my blinds now because that webcam is gonna be picking up on the daylight way too much. All right. There we go. Back to the OG days. Fun little fact here as I adjust the camera. So, fun little fact. Back when I first started doing the show live, I actually had to use my webcam like this. And I've got an older laptop. Eventually, I'd like to get I've always wanted to have an iMac. And I think whenever I move into my apartment and have more of a office desk set up than what I have now, and actually I'm going to be like having more room for it, I'd like to get me an iMac from the pawn shop because I know they'll give me a good deal. So eventually my webcam won't be so shitty, but this is an older laptop. I mean, it's a very strong laptop, but it's older. So naturally it's got an older webcam that's not as good. It's a little hazy, a little fuzzy there. And back when I first started using it, it was even worse than this. It was almost like grainy black and white, almost like something like out of a 60s sitcom. So now it's just a 70s or 80s sitcom, just a little hazy with some little color. So yeah, this is actually what it always used to look like until I switched over. I started using my phone to do it, and then I got my DSLR camera, and I'm able to hook that up to the computer and use that, but the battery died. So, so football. Ohio State getting their first win against Minnesota last night. I am a Tar Heel fan, and that's another thing you're going to see more so on this show than before is we're going to get into a lot of ACC coverage. So I used to do a show, as we've got about 17 minutes left here. I used to do a show called ACC Tailgate. That was something I did on Twitch. It was for a former NFL scout. His name was Chris Landry. He's still got his Twitch if you want to go check him out. All things pro, NFL, college. He's got all the major Power 5 conferences covered, ACC, SEC, Pac-12, all Big Ten, all that. Fantasy football. I mean, it's just one big football Twitch page. So I actually did that about once or twice a week for almost not quite a year, because it would be a year like this weekend, I think, because I started it on opening weekend of the ACC season. Mine was, again, ACC Tailgate, so it's based around the ACC. That's part of my background as well, as I'm from High Point, Greensboro, which is ACC headquarters. And if you're familiar with that area, you know that we love our ACC basketball, ACC football, Carolina, Duke, NC State, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech down south, and Virginia, UVA. I mean, we've got so many good ACC schools right here in the backyard. So ACC is a big part of my upbringing, and it's a part of sports that I'm very passionate about in college. So we're going to be getting into a lot of ACC stuff since I no longer do ACC Tailgate. I thought about, and I stopped doing it really because, and we're going to get into more about kind of my background and the COVID year and kind of where I was at the beginning of the COVID year. You're going to see some of that actually on my first vlog that I'll be putting out here very soon that I filmed months ago. I just haven't edited it yet. But, as I mentioned, I'm a sports broadcaster, a play-by-play broadcaster. But at the beginning of the COVID year, I had a lot of shit that I needed to figure out personally. I needed to figure out, I said I'm moving in a month. It took a long time to get us to this point. I've been eager to move out for a while now. but didn't necessarily have the means to do it yet. And, I've had a lot of things to figure out over the last, little over a year, a lot of growing that needed to happen that I don't think I realized I needed to do until kind of shit hit the fan. And so, yeah, we'll get into more of those kind of deeper conversations and details of that at a later time. But, yeah, so I started to get more jobs and get busier in the jobs that I had with sports broadcasting. I did up until this year, I'm not doing anymore. I've, moved on to other things. But for the last 2 years, I did William Peace, the school that I went to and played for, William Peace in Raleigh. I did their play-by-play broadcasting for basketball and baseball. Did a little PA announcing, too, for the baseball last year. Then immediately after that, in April, going into May, I got to do PA announcing for the NCAA soccer tournament, a.k.a. the College Cup, over in Cary. So that was a fun 2.5 weeks. Really good experience. I had very little experience in soccer. And at the first game I did for the College Cup was only the third game I've ever done PA for, and it was a blast and went so well. So that was fun. And then from that, several weeks later, went right into running broadcasting, doing broadcasting, doing PA, doing music, and basically doing a full production at baseball games for a summer college league called the Old North State League. Still doing that. Actually getting ready to start doing their Futures League, a high school fall league. Basically doing the same setup where we do our play-by-play broadcast, stream, the PA announcing, the music, the whole works, just a full-on production of these games. So I ran that for them, and then did some other little things, some other baseball work on the side, and then selling things, and then trying to get my own content going. So I had a lot going on. Just started another radio job in Raleigh on the weekends, doing sportscasts at the top of every hour for a sports network, or not a sports network, but just a news network on the radio. So a lot's going on. And again, it's such a blessing. It took us a long time. It feels like a long time, but it took some doing to get us to this point from the start of the COVID year to now. And so I say all that to say I was really not having the time flexibility. I had the time, but the ACC tailgate show was kind of a set scheduled show. It was 11 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, ultimately when it all wrapped up. And it was just, I wasn't really able to do it consistently. I could have done it sporadically, I basically do this show when I can, but for somebody for doing it for somebody else, I can't really do it that way. I mean, I guess I could, but he had other shows they need to get in. I just didn't want to do it that way. You need to be more consistent than that. I mean, I wasn't getting paid to do it, so it was whatever. But ultimately, I decided that I was just going to leave it and kind of move on, and kind of keep going with what I was doing, just because I didn't have the time to put into it anymore. And obviously, he really understood that and was very appreciative of all that I did do. I thought about bringing that show to my channel, just bringing ACC Tailgate here. But the more I thought about it, I'm I'm not going to overcomplicate this, because this is going to be a majority a sports show as it is. I'm going to have a separate sports show called Sports Celebration. That'll be coming out some point, hopefully soon. It's going to be a pre-recorded sports show where it's going to be a different format. It's not going to be live talk show type format. It's going to be more like a edited and kind of snappy YouTube video just on a certain topic specifically that we want to hit that day. So I figured between that and then this show, which obviously both will have ACC in it, there's no need to have a specific ACC show just to complicate things. No need. So I want everything here. So we'll get into some ACC. But I say all that to say I'm a Carolina fan. I think the Tar Heels are about to have, and again, you can say this is biased, but I really genuinely believe Carolina is about to have a great football season. Anybody that knows anything about it would probably agree. Now, how far they can take that is another matter. I personally think that they're much closer to Clemson, the big dog in the ACC, and nationally, really, one of the big dogs. Carolina's closer to Clemson than people will give them credit for. I'm telling you right now they are. I've been singing that song since all off season. You know, I was singing it on ACC Tailgate. I was singing it when I was talking to other people about it. I've been singing it in interviews, calling interviews on radio. Like I've been singing it. I'm telling you, Carolina is closer than you think to Clemson. So that's going to be fun to see how that plays out. I believe Boston College is going to be in the top 25 at some point this year. That's another take I made even in last year because they just made such strides as a team. And when you're thinking about football or anything, really, you're not thinking about Boston College. But I'm telling you, they're going to be very good. They should have opened some eyes last year, but if they didn't, they're going to wake some more people up this year. And I think they're going to be in the top 25 at some point. That stake that I put in the ground last year, that is still here. Now, I made that on ACC Tailgate, but it's still here. So, yeah, that is about all I've got for today. I mean, we got about 8 minutes or so left, and we'll be at a full hour. Let me just finish with this. I'm looking through my little notes here. We'll get into some more college football probably this weekend. I'd like to do a show this weekend. So obviously Cam Newton got released by the Patriots. And if you don't know, which you probably don't because you don't know me really, Cam Newton, I'm a Carolina Panther fan, and Cam Newton is my favorite football player. And obviously he just got released by the Patriots, which that was a whole situation and a half. I mean, obviously he and Mac Jones, the first rounder, 15th overall pick that the Patriots took in the draft this year, have been pretty much neck and neck in the preseason. This was the second year for Cam at the Patriots, obviously since being released by the Panthers. Pretty much neck and neck between Cam and Mac Jones for the QB1 spot. You know, it's been one of the more compelling stories of the preseason, you know, kind of up there with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill going at it for the Saints job, which obviously Jameis Winston, rightfully so, got it. You know, right up there with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton at the Bears and Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo at the Niners. Cam Newton was he was unvaccinated, and when you're apparently, you know, for unvaccinated players, I'm sure this is with any team, but specifically talking about the Patriots, there are certain protocols that you have to follow, I guess maybe to get into the facility or whatever. And there was some type of misunderstanding for Cam. I think he left the area before getting cleared or something, or they thought maybe he didn't get cleared when actually he did, and he had a special medical reason for leaving and going to Atlanta. I think he had to go. So it was a weird situation and ultimately a headache for somebody like Bill Belichick that has no time for that shit. And the competition between he and Mac Jones was already neck and neck. So Belichick basically said, fuck it, and gave the job to Mac Jones, who was ultimately going to be the future of the Patriots as far as we know. You know, the best way to put it was Cam Newton was now, Mac Jones was going to be later and ultimately the future most likely. So that was a whole weird situation, and you know, Cam Newton was ultimately cut about a week ago because of it, or earlier this week or whenever it was. And so the question is that it for Cam? Is that it for him in his career in the NFL as a QB1? Like, we don't know. A lot of people will say that's the it for Cam, period, in the NFL. A lot of people are saying that's it for Cam as a starter. I'm not 100% sure where I fall just yet on that, just because it's still kind of fresh and I need to do a little more homework and digging on it. I mean, originally Cam Newton said he did not want to be a backup, and now recently people close to Cam have reportedly said that he would be open to being a backup. And a lot of people have just made the case that Cam Newton is such a brand and such a star that it's either he's the guy or nothing. Like he would not be a backup. You could not see him as a backup. Maybe there's teams that would not want to bring him in as a backup because of the distraction he would potentially be for your starting quarterback. So it's a weird situation. I'm not sure where I land just yet on that. Now, there were rumblings that the Cowboys were going to do their due diligence on Cam as the backup. They obviously just paid Dak a deal, a long-term deal, so he's secured. He's the guy in Dallas, but they don't have a backup quarterback. And the point that I made, I tweeted this. The point that I made for the Cam to Dallas deal was that Dallas is their success is completely predicated on the health of Dak Prescott. Because and they've got a lot of offensive talent. You know, I thoroughly enjoy watching people put the Cowboys in the contender category every fucking year, and then they flop. Usually they don't even make the playoffs for whatever the reason, you know, whether it's injury, whether it's just whatever. They don't. Like, the Cowboys are the one team that I will never put them as a contender until they give me a reason to. I don't care how much talent they have. I don't care if Tom Brady's the quarterback. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. I will refuse. Or if Jerry Jones is no longer the owner and no longer has anything to do with it, maybe then. But until one of those things, like until the Cowboys actually go and do something, or Jerry Jones is no longer associated with a team and that has nothing to do with it, I don't care how much talent or who the quarterback is for the Cowboys, I will never put them as a contender, ever. Because they've given you too many reasons not to. And I thoroughly enjoy watching the media every stinking year just fall for the trap again. Oh, the Cowboys, they've got a Super Bowl caliber roster on paper. They're a contender on paper. They got one of the best offenses. Maybe so on paper. I don't care. They're still the Dallas Cowboys. They're still run and bombarded by Jerry Jones, and they will continue to have that bad juju. And then their fan base don't even get me started. Can you tell what my least favorite team in the NFL is? Can you tell? I don't care. I just don't care. I will never put the Cowboys as a contender until Jerry Jones is gone. I'm not talking about dying, but he probably will have to die for him to not be associated with the Cowboys. But unless Jerry Jones is no longer the owner and associated with the Cowboys anymore, or the Cowboys actually go and do something and finally prove everybody, well, not everybody, but prove people like me wrong, I will never put the Cowboys as a contender. I don't care how much talent they have. I don't care. But they're completely predicated on the health of Dak with all their offensive talent. If Dak gets hurt, they do not have a backup. Not a competent, legitimate one that would do anything for them. Cooper Rush is not. Will Grier, who just got picked up by Dallas, got let go by the Panthers a couple days ago. He's not. They need a legit backup if Dak goes down. And I think Cam would be that. And to me, and this was the final point that I made on it, and it's the final point I'm going to make on this show, and we'll get out of here. Cam Newton, because of his name, because of his brand, just because of who he is, the only team in this league that I could see and say, okay, that actually makes sense, or that feels right, that looks right. And again, fuck it, how it looks, at the end of the day, if you want to play, you want to play. But the only team I could potentially wrap my head around Cam being the QB2, the backup guy, and Cam actually being kind of cool with being the backup guy is down in Dallas. The team with the star on the helmet. America's fucking team. Even though they don't win anything on a football field, it's all off the field and in the headlines. Regardless, They're still, for some ungodly reason, they're considered America's team. And so that's the only time I could see Cam justifying being a QB2. That's the only way. So maybe he'll prove me wrong on that, and he'll go be a backup for somebody else at some point. Maybe he's just going to sit and wait until somebody gets hurt, and then he'll get picked up as a starter. You don't know. So we'll see. But that's going to be it for the Wilbur and Gold Show, episode 30 on a Friday. Appreciate you watching. Nobody really tuned in to the live stream, but if you're watching after this is posted, appreciate you watching. My name is Will Dalton, a.k.a. Wilbur and Gold. You can catch me on any social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. I'm there. And we will catch you next time right here on the Wilbur and Gold Show.